Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of the My Love of Golf podcast. Another exciting episode of three grown men sitting around talking about golf. I know we're not the only podcast in the world with grown men sitting around talking about golf, but we keep turning up and you keep turning up to listen, and we do appreciate every one of you that does listen, and we thank you for that. Now, this week we have a very special giveaway. We'll get to that. There is a points-based system. It's not too complicated, don't worry, but Mike will explain. Mike is the admin manager for all things competition, just appointed this afternoon. But we've got a great giveaway. It's worth sticking around for. So thanks for tuning in. Let's bring the guys in. Gentlemen, good evening. Welcome back to the podcast. How are we both? Rocket, I'll go to you first. Rocket, how are you? Once again, with the Crackerjack background. It might not be the first time we've seen that background, but wow, what a week it's been for the ongoing saga that is Live Investments, Saudi Golf League, and whatever other version of Saudi golf involvement it's been called. But just for the listeners that can't see the background, please tune over at YouTube if you want to see the background or look at the picture. What's going on there?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for playing my music again. You didn't play it last week, and I'm pretty sure that you're worried about my allegiances, and I did pledge them on Twitter that, I was not entertaining any rival podcasts or anything like that, and I was maintaining my full commitment to the My Love of Golf, place that gave me my first start, and I'm just going to try and remain loyal and also here to grow the game.
Yes, you did officially announce, along with Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Phil Mickelson, and Rocket Rodney Aaron, your loyalty to the tour. In our case, this little tour is the My Love Golf podcast. So thank you for that. I did think of a way to sort of open this week's podcast up and, basically just say I've been stringing you guys along, and that's it. I'm off. But no, you'd already beat me to the punch. So thanks for that. It was funny. But we're just growing the game. That was obviously a bit of a P15S take as well, because it's funny. We talk about passion for the game, and doing our bit, and that for me, that basically circumferences my entire life, because it is 24/7 involved in the world of golf. And people tell me that they think that I'm pretty passionate about it. I believe that I am. I don't do this for that sort of acknowledgement, but I'm very passionate about golf. But this topic of growing the game, always, everyone says, I hate that term. I hate that term. I hate that term. I hate that term. So that's where when I replied to your tweet, G to G, grow the game. It is a weird one that people keep talking about growing the game and bashing it down. What is it? What's the best way to say what we do, actually? I'm sort of going a little bit left of field already, but that's what we do. What are we doing?
In terms of what we do?
Well, what's the right way to say what everyone who's passionate about it, who wants to talk and support it and be part of it, is it growing the game or not?
I don't know if what we do is growing the game. I would say that what we're doing is providing some entertainment for people that probably wouldn't have it. Mm-hmm. Or are we educating them in news that they might not have thought about, right? It's what we'll call it, like we're a pseudo newsbreaker, maybe. I don't know. But it's something like that. Give people a little bit of light entertainment. We do not shy away from actual hard topics. We have a laugh. We talk about some interesting stuff. And just, is it grow the game? Probably not. But is it growing people's appreciation and love for the game? They might already be there. We're probably appealing to the hardcore audience, and they're just going to introduce their friends to it and go, you got to listen to these guys because they're a bit of a hoot. Rocket's bloody awesome. He's staying with the team. He's not going to a rival league, but they touch on serious topics. But they also, it's lighthearted, and it's just a good easy listen for 45 minutes or an hour if you're on a ride on lawnmower. Mowing your lawn.
Do you still do that?
No.
No, right. You've got someone up there in Queensland that does it for you now.
I've just got less space.
Oh, right. No, but I guess my point was, I don't think we're growing the game by this. That wasn't. I think the only thing that I could lay claim to growing the game is when a fella comes into my golf clubs to get a set of clubs who's a new golfer. That's not growing the game. I just help facilitate him into a set of clubs. But, when his partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, otherwise, who's never played golf, has very little interest, and she walks out with, she walks out with a 7-iron and says, I say, look, take that to the driving range rather than sitting down, because, she's had a conversation around an interest in golf, and they come back in a couple of weeks later and saying, thanks, that was the best thing that could have ever happened, because now I've got 2 of us playing golf, not one of us. I think that's sort of, for me, the only thing that I can sort of parlay into putting a shackle over growing the game.
Yeah, it is.
I guess the thing that always comes up is, the term gets bashed. It just gets bashed by, the journos that talk about it, and they just bash when they hear it, and they just distance themselves from the term. And as we opened up, I just had this level of confusion around what actually growing the game actually means.
Well, the reason it gets bashed is because we have elite professionals that do things and make decisions under the guise that they are growing the game, which is complete BS. I'm playing in Saudi because they're doing some wonderful things for golf, and I'm trying to grow the game in the middle of the desert. That is literal, just absolute A-grade, rolled gold BS. That's not growing the game. That's like growing your wallet. It's growing your wallet. I think the journos and a lot of this, we'll call it the new golf media, and the guys that have pivoted into the new golf media, they don't have time for the professionals that try and give you a little bit of smoke and mirrors and give you the BS lines. It's like, come on, you're not growing the game, you're growing your wallet. Real growing the game, and I made reference to it last week at Riviera when you got Cameron Champ, Tony Finau spending a copious amount of hours with 30 to 40 juniors in LA on a driving range till dark. That's actually trying to grow the game. Like that it's your actions, and what you do is growing the game. Like taking money to go play an event, it's not really growing the game. It's not. Okay, well, that clears that up. Back to your background. You've got the you've someone who you in previous times, much like Phil, and he's going to dominate a little bit of this conversation in today's podcast. But much like Phil, you've actually spent a fair bit of time adoring. You've got the shark in the background behind you. Mm-hmm. Spent a fair bit of time, giving him a lot of credit for various things in the golfing world. He's the reason I play golf. But you picture there is fairly pointed. It's one of his moments where he's fallen over and he's driving his butt of his putter into his chest in submission or whatever it was. I actually think to the right is Phil's footsteps. Right. I reckon he speared the shark in this one. Well, Phil, before we talk about Phil, let's welcome the admin, the now the newly appointed, unknowingly appointed competition admins manager. We will be giving away a great product in this. I've still got Rocket's music on. There we go. We'll be giving away a great product, courtesy of my win at the long drive. Did I mention I won a long drive, boys?
I heard.
Okay.
I think I heard. Yeah.
You can actually see me tell the world on the latest Drum and Golf YouTube clip about the Wilson Triad golf ball, where I did make reference to my long drive win. Might have even been Wilson's Triad's first ever long drive win, maybe in the history of Wilson golf balls, I don't know, but I did call myself out. I was making a point about the straight flight technology. That's what helped me drive the ball to win this beautiful Callaway driver that I've got here. It was a sponsored, that's not a word, sponsored by Callaway. So Callaway provided the driver. I was very, very impressed when I rocked up to Golf Australia's headquarters last week to collect the prize. It had been left in the corner of the little pro shop there at Sandy Links, part of the Golf Australia, Golf PGA headquarters there. Beautiful new building, got a great driving range with top tracer and part of that whole facility there. The Callaway driver was there waiting for us. So I took a picture and we'll give that away. Neither of us need a new driver. Maybe Rocket does, but I do have a driver for you, Rocket. I do have a driver for you. Just the COVID and couriers. I think the couriers are still running to Queensland. They're allowed back in. Anyway, we'll give that away. But Mike, I've got to officially welcome you to the podcast. Now, that's going to sound a bit stupid for people, but, Mike has invested, as we all have, in some technology called microphones. They're a pretty common thing these days in the world of podcasting. Most podcasters tend to use them. I don't know who invented the microphone, but they've evolved over the journey. You can get ones that plug into power. You can get ones that plug into recorders, or even ones that plug into computers. Mike's had one that plugs into a computer for about 12 months now, but he didn't have it turned on.
No, that it might not have been 12 months, but it's definitely this week. And I definitely, while I was away, I don't know whether it was before that, but I definitely spent an hour today trying to figure out why resetting up everything at home. I couldn't get sound until you said, have you turned it on? And I'm like, yeah, the light's on. But no, it wasn't on. You're right.
I don't think you've had it turned on. But anyway, welcome back to the podcast. How are you?
Good, thanks. Rested up. I've had 3 days off golf. 4 days. No, yeah, 4 days off golf. So body's getting back to normal. Back to work.
Back to work. Back to normal. Okay.
Yeah.
How many holes was it in the end?
I don't really know. I didn't count it up, but it wouldn't have been far away from being close to 300, I think, over nearly 2 weeks.
Just on the, we like to do a little bit of course reviewage. You missed the one course that I played at today, and I hadn't played there since 2004. First ever game of Mornington Peninsula District Pennant was at this particular course. Either of you two guys have a guess at what it was? What course I played at today? You didn't play it.
Has to be Rosebud North.
Bayviews.
Oh, no.
Club. Yeah, it used to be called, I think it was called, might have been like a centenary or something, but anyway, it's called Bayviews Golf Club now. It's on the side of the hill at the top of Rosebud there, overlooking the bay. Hence the name Bayviews. Great little public track. $40. $40 on a Wednesday with a cart. And it's a dinky little course up there on the side of the hill. A few little slopey par fours, fives, and for me, the signature holes are the par threes. They're really good par threes there. But had a great round there with a couple of the boys from Melbourne City, Andrew Naboo, gun striker, Socceroo, Melbourne City Strike Force, and Josh Bondon. Now, Josh Bondon is an unsung hero of the Melbourne City outfit. Is the main man that keeps the kit in order. And with that, people like Josh Bondon, teams like Melbourne City Professional Outfits don't do what they do. So Josh and Andrew, thanks for the round today. Both good fun guys to play 18 holes with, but get down to Bayviews. It was good. You didn't play that one, did you, Mike?
No, I didn't. I did think about it, but no, I didn't get there.
Speaking of golf, there's some golf in the next couple of weeks planned for you again, I believe, and I would bring the band back together. This is like
which
band.
Which band? Because I believe we got two bands, and I'm not sure which golf day you're talking about.
Well, the Mollica band, the boss. He's like the boss.
He is.
What's the other band? What's the other gig?
So you got the rollbacks.
The rollbacks.
There might be a possible trip coming up.
Oh, right. Yeah. Is that can we announce that?
Well, that's what I thought you were doing. Yeah, I think
that's the other band. Yeah, that's the March band.
We're talking in circles here. Yeah, we're debating.
So instead of Dire Straits, it's Bass Straits.
Correct.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
Could be heading back over to the rolling dunes of Barnbougle.
Look, sorry for that, people.
Hey, at least I was clear.
Yeah, what's really happening is Chris Day, who is a fan, maybe he's a friend of the podcast. Chris Day is from Phoenix.
Yeah, he's in Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona. Been listening to the podcast for a long time. Is an international member at, you can see it on my hat there, at Peninsula Kingswood.
Yeah.
I think Chris might have had like the third booking when the borders opened up for people to come back into Australia. He might have been third or fourth in line, just sitting there pressing the button for American Airlines.
Pretty much.
So he's already booked to come back down. He'll be back down here next week. He's got around a PK, and And I think we might be joining Mr. Mollica for one of around at one of his courses. So that will be fantastic. But yeah, I'm excited by the news of returning a year later to rediscover the dunes of Barnbougle. I can't wait.
That's true. Yeah. No, it'd be good.
He's a machine.
The benefit is last time we went, I think it was you got away with going on your wedding anniversary.
Yes.
It's my birthday this time. So it's easy to get away because
that's all right.
It's like, wow, my birthday.
It's a present to Mike.
Yeah, Mike's present to Mike.
Yeah. How did we go? Well, I know how I went. I'm not sure how you two guys went, but I don't think the standings have changed in last week's tipping.
Oh, my God.
Rocket didn't have a very lucky week. Did you, Rocket?
Oh, I'm having a shocker. Oh, Fitzmagic got COVID.
Yes. So
and the notification I got was like at some stupid hour, so I have no time to put in a replacement.
Yeah. I'll send you a person to follow the PGA Tour announcer who I have him on Twitter. So whenever someone's out, I know straight away. I'll send you the link. No, the winner last week was, I don't know who it is, but Chichi Rodriguez. So he or she picked Joaquin Neiman. So got the full shebang, got the whole 2.1 million in the kick last week in points, shot them up to the first overall. So sitting now at $2.67 million. Nomadic Golfer being pegged down into second, just under 2.1. Old Salty 2.1, and I'm repping the Old Salty shirt today. Shermanator 4 and James G, who's a GMGA member, has shot up to fifth. I think he joined late too. So
it's not too late, people.
That's the top five.
It is not too late.
Nope.
No.
How are we going? Out of the three of us? I don't know. I just put the tips in, and I'm not sure where.
Well, Ross, you're 14th overall, 1.25 mil. Rocket is sitting 26th, 800K. I'm 36th with 480K. And just as a call out to, I think I think I know who this person is, but I don't know that he listens. Someone I know, he's 43K, and second last is Bogies to Birdies, young Phil down at St Andrews Beach. He's sitting on 99K. But there's still a few people sitting on $0.
Yeah,
which is a solid effort.
Ed Hodge in London, he texted me during the week saying, I don't know what I have to do to get off fifth bottom. I think he's going to like the PGA Tour website. Yeah, Mike, you would know, like the hot picks. There's like a trending.
Yeah. Yep.
He's following those, and like it's just delivering donuts for young Hodgie.
Yeah. They have their they put out their sheet every week of the top 10 players that are hot here. So yeah, not always necessarily the best lean, but I think the way you've done it, Ross, has been a good way to do it. Horses for courses, people that have played well there, and Rocket for you last week. Was it 2 weeks ago when you picked Adam Scott? No, it was you. You picked Adam Scott last week, Ross.
Yeah.
That's kind of touch wood. Most of the time you can't go wrong with that.
Speaking of Adam Scott, a lot of talk around Adam Scott on a number of fronts. Still, the Saudi thing continues to pop up in the Adam Scott reference, but your friends at No Laying Up certainly were all over Adam with his choice of dress.
Yeah.
The brown, the bone, the off-white, the ivory, the beige.
And he was still wearing it on Monday.
Yeah. Well, he went to
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Got six straight days. It's been followed. I got another. So I saw the one this morning. I'm waiting for another one.
He's still wearing it. But credit to where credit's due for Adam. He was the host of a junior golf, the Adam Scott Junior Golf Foundation tournament in, I forget where it was, in California. Golf Australia sent 2 young juniors across there to play in that. Jeffrey Gorn, who is a member at the Australian. He is an absolute jet of a golfer. Watch Jeffrey. He didn't make the cut at 13th Beach, but watch Jeffrey warm up down there. And wowee, what an exciting talent for a young, I think he's maybe 16. He didn't shoot out of the 60s, I believe, streeted the field by about 8 shots. So he won Adam's event over there. And Justice Basizo in the girls section finished second. They were chaperoned over there by Stephanie Nah, My Love of Golf tournament winner. Stephanie Na, and also Richard Woodhouse from coaches up there at KDV in Queensland alongside Jamie. So they chaperoned the guys over there, and I think what else did they do that touched my love of golf? They were at Chevy Chase Club. So they were at Stephen Britton's Chevy Chase Club with your boy Colin this week after the tournament. So they were just out there doing some PGA media. Stephanie's partner works for the PGA Tour in the media department. So they were obviously there. And Jeffrey got to meet Colin Morikawa while they were doing some stuff at Chevy Chase Club. And I think they're off to maybe do some TaylorMade stuff tomorrow. So exciting times for the young Aussies, and well done to Stephanie Na, who we know personally, and Richard Woodhouse up there in Queensland for taking and being involved in junior golf, because we know how important that is to the future of the game. And if that might be part of growing the game, if they've got a little part to claim in that, well done. So good on you, Adam Scott. But yeah, Adam Scott, is he Saudi? Is he a Saudi contender or not? Has he made a statement along with Rocket, DJ, Bryson, Phil?
No, he hasn't, because he hasn't been hiding from anything. He didn't really say he'd spoken, or kind of alluded that he couldn't really speak, because I think he was sort of like under like an NDA, and he just said it would suit my lifestyle.
Yeah, you're right. He said, had they said, have you spoken to him? He said, yep, but we've signed whatever it is, so we can't talk about it. And it does suit his lifestyle. As people have asked me a lot about it in the last couple of weeks, but someone gives you an exorbitant amount of money, he can probably move back to Europe full time, live the life he wants to live, and play 10 tournaments here.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is that because if you think about it, you play on that tour, it'd be the Asian tour, so you'd have co-sanctioned events. So then all of a sudden there's world ranking points with it, and if you play well enough on that one, you could probably maintain your top 60 odd status in the world. So that means you're in the majors. You play the majors, then some of the WGCs, and then so you call it, there's 6 or 7 big events that you would play, and then you got maybe 10 or 12 ones for just an arseload of cash, 15, 16 events for the year, and why not?
Yeah.
It's actually what the Shark tried to do many eons ago.
And that's probably the one thing that I talked to a mate about today, is that he was, what do you think about Phil, and what do you think about that? And, so I've never been a Phil fan, either way. So I'd never liked him, never disliked him. He's just another golfer to me. I've never had any affinity towards him. So him doing what he's been doing the last few weeks has been whatever. I probably find it more disappointing, I'll say, seeing someone like Adam Scott going down this path. I understand it. I don't agree with it. I think for someone that's like me, I started playing when I was around 20. He's probably the golfer that has been there as the Australian beacon of golf the whole way through, the same way Shark is for you, Rocket. And so that's the part I probably find a bit disappointing about it all. I just don't, I understand it. I don't necessarily think it's all going to go away. There's a lot of players that still haven't said either way. It just won't be the ones we thought that will be spearheading it. It's probably going to be more like Adam Scott, Jason Kokrak, Poulter, Lee Westwood. I think, as I said to
Paul Casey,
Twitter the other day, it's going to be kind of like a European seniors tour and Jason Kokrak playing for a truckload of cash.
Has this got the potential of just dying, going away, and the Live just going, sorry guys, let's not worry about it with that? No, it's happening.
They have billions and billions of dollars. They have a want and need to sport wash what they're doing. And this is just a blip on the radar. So the thing is that it's when if you're the PGA Tour, you're playing a finite game. You're trying to stamp out a rival kind of league. Saudi Arabia, under the guise of Live, are playing an infinite game. There is no end game to this. They're playing to make a dent and sport wash their atrocities and whatever. So there is no end game for them. So you've got two opposing forces as playing two different sets of rules, and the finite player will not outlast the infinite player.
The saddest part about it all is the theory of a world tour is awesome. And I think I look at it from a different lens. And then we talked about Noah laying up before and other people and commentators on the issues. And they look at it from a different lens to me because they are in America. There's 50 tournaments a year in America. They have no issue in finding at some point being able to go and watch Tiger Woods or all these guys. Whereas in my lifetime, Tiger's been in front of me playing golf 7 times. I joked today talking to my mate about it, saying, I remember a time when the question was, does Phil Mickelson even have a passport? Because he would never leave the US outside of the trip for the US Open, the Open Championship. Nearly did it. And that was it. And so how good would it be if somehow the PGA Tour could become more than that and have a 15 tournament season, and there's 3 in the UK and there's 4 in the US and there's 1 in Australia and there's a couple in Japan and Korea and South Africa and a proper world tour. And you had it so that, you're not going to get the best players every week, but just imagine you had 75% of the top 50 players in the world playing each time in each one of those tournaments. And there was enough coin to make it happen. And it wasn't from Saudi Arabia. That would be the greatest thing in the world. I imagine a proper world golf championships all around the world. That'd be amazing. Just not going to happen.
Yeah, they had the opportunity to do that 2 decades ago.
Yep.
They kind of took the concept of the World Golf Tour that Shark sort of proposed.
Yep.
And they kind of started doing it. Like, remember we had WGC out here at Kingston Heath. Was it Kingston Heath or Metro? Metro. 99.
Yeah.
99 or something like that. So they started doing it, and then they just progressed to move everything to the US and make it US centric. And then, the telecasts don't change. There's all these things that over time, it's just this slow creep and just eroding away what makes the game either exciting or actually truly growing the game.
Yeah.
And there's wasted opportunity. So the PGA Tour have no one to blame but themselves because they allowed this to happen, because they've created this 52-week basically slogfest.
Yeah.
And when they could have, they had the power to create like that world tour.
Yep.
Or even if it was I don't know, come up with some concept. But to your point, like, here's your primary US season, but the start of the year is stuff in Europe.
Yep.
They might have some stuff in the middle of the year sort of lined up around the US Open, the Open Championship, like what they're doing now with the Scottish.
Exactly.
Then the tail end of the year, instead of having these BS fall series, why not come out into Asia, play one in Japan?
Yep.
Like you've got one of the craziest golf mad countries on the planet. Why not play for big coin in Japan? And if you want to make it worth their while, play 2 there.
Yep.
And then maybe bring 2 into Australia. No offense to all the other regions and stuff.
No, exactly.
But it's like, do that and bring play 1 at Royal Melbourne, play another one at pick a course. I know Royal Adelaide, Royal Queensland, Royal Sydney, whatever. And you bring those 2 events, and then you've got a different time zone, and you're bringing. It's attractive then to the overseas people, like the US people, because they're like, oh shit, they're playing in Japan.
Yeah.
And it's actually not too crazy a time zone for them to watch.
No, and what you said is perfect. They play the Zozo in Japan and they play a couple in Korea, right?
Oh yeah, the CJ Cup.
And that's it. Now you could easily extend that out to play in Australia. And I know the guys aren't going to be away from home for a month and play in all of them, but they might want to mix it up. But like you said, our time zone, where we are with some of the best courses in the world, is bang on in line with where Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, China can sit down and watch golf and actually get involved in it. I have my issues even with Golf Australia, right? They should have been
banging on the front door of PGA Tour years ago to try and make the Australian Open and a couple of other events like co-sanctioned events. Like imagine if Australian Open became like a pseudo WGC. Absolutely. And you think about the people that are on that trophy, you could actually, there's some actually legit history in there that could actually make that a serious event. Right. And then
how many times has Jack Nicklaus won? Jack Nicklaus won the Aussie Open like 6 times.
Yeah, Gary Player's 7, I think. Like it's crazy, right? Yeah. And then they potentially could have, even though it didn't have as long a history, something like the Australian Masters just had this.
Yeah,
I know for me as a kid growing up, the Australian Masters had this kind of beautiful like aura around it.
Yeah.
So those 2 events, you could have had just elite crowds because again, a lot of elite players came and they've got their name on that trophy, like the Masters. You got Bernard Langer. Did Seve win? Don't think so. I think Tom Watson's won it. Obviously the Sharks has won it a heap. I think Faudo won it maybe 1 year. So there's no chumps that are on those trophies. So the possibility of
it's there. It's an option.
They could have done it. Yeah. They could have done it 20 years ago and made the game. It would have allowed certain players to go, do you know what, I want a bit of a break or an off season, but they've unfortunately, you know, the PGA Tour, like Peter Costello and John Howard, have ridden a gravy train, which is Tiger Woods. For John Howard and Peter Costello, it was the mining boom and property boom, and they've wasted it. They've wasted 20 years of Tiger because they just were singular focused and they just stayed in their own little bubble and just the tour could probably have been 3 times bigger than what it is if they actually thought outside of their own little bubble.
The States. And there's too much money for them in there to not go to Texas 7 times, right? I get that. But if you want to talk about growing the game and being the biggest thing on planet Earth.
But it comes down to TV rights. Yeah. Like, that's the thing they forget about. If they tap into TV, if all of a sudden you get great events in different venues and it's like gets eyeballs and it rates its butt off. Like you think about if you did 2 massive events in Japan, like the dollar value of that one from a TV rights perspective would be through the roof. So you pick and choose what you're doing and you try and you got narrow focus on events. So then the money, which is the sponsorship, because then if you got lots of eyeballs, that means you can ask a higher price. You just continue to increase the value of it. You just quality of the fields, quality of the courses, quality of the play, quality of the TV. So you can start to then maybe do things differently on some of those ones, invest a little bit more in terms of how you broadcast it. So that means the quality continues to go up. That means you continue to drive everything further and further up. So it doesn't matter that you've got this, big captive audience of, you've got this big audience potentially in Texas, but it doesn't matter because all of a sudden, like the whole world's watching Japan for 2 weeks and we've got the best fields playing some of the most amazing courses.
Yep.
Yeah, this whole part of amazing courses fitting somewhere into golf that we want to watch just doesn't seem to fit in still. And Bomb and Gouge golf takes over, and I don't know where we get it wrong because 3 of us were a small sample of the people that we know, and I think the people that we know all agree that you'd much rather watch golf on amazing golf courses.
I've got no problem with someone shoots 30 under if it's great golf on a course that they've hit a lot of great shots for that.
Yeah.
And they're working the ball around.
And it doesn't just need to be architecture, right? So we all agree a course like Royal Melbourne's is an exceptional elite course, and watching people play that course is the best, right? But I'm also not against Torrey Pines. People don't love Torrey Pines. I don't dislike it. I understand the unbelievable views and everything else. Cool. Got no issue with those things being on the rotation. But there's also 7 courses that I could literally throw in a pile and pull out, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between them. And there's no over and above scenery, and the fields are only so.
Yeah,
you could easily carve it all up, but there's too much, like you said, Rocket. Too much money in TV and too much money in sponsorship from the major sponsor for that week to not do it because they're not going to sponsor something to come to Australia.
No.
Good points. We've sort of glazed over the Genesis. We mentioned that Joaquin Niemann won and a wire-to-wire win, which was great. What else were the other standouts of the Genesis for you guys?
Riv was hard and fast. Tiger wanted it to be, hard and fast, which was great. It got harder and faster.
And it was, and again, we call it back over the comment.
Yeah.
Great course. The conditions. So the beauty is Tiger having control of that. He goes, do you know what? I want this course playing nice and firm and fast because I want to see golf played a certain way.
Yep.
And if you go back to the leaderboard, the people that can move their golf ball around, they're near the top again.
Yeah, our ball striker central. So Cole Malakawa, second. Cam Young had a great week. Guy straight off the Corn Ferry Tour hits it a mile.
Yep.
Adam Scott, another ball striker. Big Vic did really well. I was a little bit surprised because he is a little bit sketchy with the chipping, but he did quite well. Justin Thomas, Matt McNeely, Scotty Scheffler, like big names towards the top. It's the cream rose, but yeah, Joaquin Niemann, wowee. Like it was, if you're watching it, it was a horse race. The glasses were down very early. It was over. I would get messages from a lot of guys that bet on golf, and I had a message on Sunday night our time, and he's like, okay, so who can I bet on that might be able to catch him if he has a bad day? And I'm like, it's not happening. Like he's going to shoot even par ballpark. He needs to shoot 3 over to even open the door.
Well, he had a bad day and still won by 2.
Yeah, and effectively shot even. If he shot the 3 over, it would have been in the mix. But from what he was doing, there was no way he was shooting 3 over. Like, it was just not happening. It was. I won't say it was boring because it was never really, really up for grabs, even with Cole holding out for eagle. Yeah,
it would have been interesting if he didn't have such a big lead.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But in general, if you go back and look at the thing is what as well, if you look at the scores, there's the other thing as well that happens with some of these courses when you get it like that, there's separation in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it? 10th? 10th is 9 shots back.
Yeah. Well,
that's a lot.
Max Homer has done an interview that they launched tonight, and he said I played pretty well for a guy who finished 10th, 9 shots behind the guy who won.
Yeah, normally
if you
finish 10th in a normal PGA Tour event, you're like 3 or 4 shots. Yeah.
So it's
but to be 9.
When you open up 63, if he had got rolled, he would have been pretty disappointed.
Adam Scott finishes tied for 4th and he's 5 back.
Geez, Scotty with that putter. I know we've talked a little bit about Adam Scott today and his wardrobe, but that longer putter, and leaving that flag stick in, I feel nervous.
Costing him shots?
I feel nervous over the putts, let alone how he feels. I just don't get it. It's just nothing natural about it. Nothing. It's terrible.
He's so in his head. He's so in his own head with the putter.
But his strokes gained putting. He's actually good. He's probably top 20, right?
Yeah.
But he misses more shot. I don't have the numbers, right? I'm just going off view. That's the short ones.
Anything under 4 feet.
It's the short ones.
Terrible.
And I'm not Adam Scott. I'm not remote. I don't even have a. No, I won't even make a joke about it. I got in the habit, even when we have post here in Melbourne, being able to having to leave the flag stick in. Now on any putt inside of 3 feet, I have to have the flag out because I found that I started putting towards the gap between the stick and the edge of the hole, and I was missing some. So now it's like, no, it has to come out. But he goes the opposite way. It's almost like, no, I'm going to aim for the middle of the stick, and that's my target. I don't know. I just feel so awkward.
Yeah, I don't think it works. I agree. Like anything that draws your eye to the center of the hole takes your and has the potential to take your eye off the entry point.
Yep.
And that's according to the Brad Kennedy School of Masterclass Putting at 13th Beach post Pro-Am.
Yep.
So taken the flag in. I've tried it for a number of months, and it just got to the point where I was distracted. Too much going on, too much visual stimulation. just need to focus on where the ball was going to drop into the hole because there's very rarely a straight putt. Anyway, so we've covered that, but what's happened since then is probably, is the topics that have got the whole golf world, every journalist, every podcast, every Twitterer talking, and that's the absolute pacing that Phil has got since then from all corners, but most notably Rory, the young whippersnapper, just giving it to the big senior statesman of the tour with a double 1-2 and an uppercut to finish him off. And then today we see Phil come out with this 2-page long statement, which I don't know if you've read it or not, but he's sort of like...
I've read it.
Oh, I've read it.
Yeah, of course you've read it. Sorry, that was dumb.
I'm going to cede all of my time to Rocket on this.
Yeah. But what do you think about Rory's words, Rocket?
Well, the tour should, they've anointed, I've said he's the prince.
Yes.
He's the Prince of Pontevedra. He is the chosen one. He is Anakin McElroy, and he proved it in that. And got to give him credit. He calls it as it is. I know he does not like the shark, like one iota. Like he does not like him at all. And I think Mickelson is in that boat. And I saw another message today, which was an unnamed player, where he made the comment of what everyone is seeing is what we players have known of Phil for the last 15 years. So this all comes about. So we've got to almost like wind the clock back. And it was kind of start of last week before the Genesis, and it sort of was really starting to bubble. And Mickelson was just really chirping away, and that's where he started with the greed comment. And Alan Shipnuck was obviously talking about his book, which he was, which is coming out in about May, which is, we'll call it a biography on Phil Mickelson. And I'm thinking this looks really, really good. And then the whole Saudi thing was coming up. So I've listened to his podcast with Matt Janella on Fire Pit, and he said this is basically, this bit of content was combustible. It had a shelf life on it, and it's in my book. He said, so it was pertinent for me to bring that out in light of everything that was happening. So he posted out like basically what the phone conversation was with him and Phil. And it was, it was on the record, because at no stage did anything be off the record. And Alan being Alan, and the stand-up sort of journalist he is, he would have done all the normal things and go, you just tell me if you want something off the record. You just tell me what's on and off. And Phil just brain dumped. And then so when he put that out, that is when basically the pits of Mordor just exploded.
What's the pits of Mordor?
It's Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
It's absolutely just blown up. It is, the whole world is blown up, because what you see was the duplicitous nature of Mickelson, the man who thinks he's playing 4D chess, but really he's just playing tiddlywinks. And it lit it, and the people, and even people that were fans of his, like even someone like JT and Phil are like homies, right? And JT like give him a serve, and from there the whole Saudi thing just unraveled. In terms of the momentum and what was happening and the narrative that was going, it was like this train was going, and you think, oh my God, like they're going to sign a heap. And then with Phil coming out with that, and you think he's obviously, if you go back to the letter that he wrote, the apology that wasn't an apology, at no stage did he say that. He was effectively apologising to the Saudis about his comments. And if you're having that dude in your ear trying to sell you on how good this is and how it's good for the game and all this sort of stuff, and you see his comments of they're bad, but I'm doing this to try and get leverage and get what I want, and it's like, let's fill Phil Mickelson's pockets. You're like, hang on, I'm about to go and torch my reputation for this. They're probably thinking, this prick. So all of a sudden you got the DJ one comes out, then you got the Bryson one that comes out, and then it's like Rory and everyone, everyone's just popping him from left, right and centre over and over again. And there were lots of real funny jokes. Like I posted so many of these shark ones from when the chip-in lipped out on the 15th in the final round of the 96 Masters. And he must feel so betrayed. And so, yes, we talked about it will probably never go away, but like it just blew up, and it's still blown up, and his reputation, it's
in tatters.
Oh no, it's worse than tatters.
He's lost KPMG and
Workday
mutually agreed to part ways, so that's his two biggest sponsors.
Yeah, and Workday.
Not doing it for Workday anymore.
Yeah, and we've heard many times lots of things about the Tiger and Phil, right? Tiger's one of the boys, and the boys like him, and Phil's, even though the fans see him as being popular, he's not one of the guys, right? And a lot of it's all about Phil, and this just proves it even more. And the unfortunate thing is that he's so talented. I'm such a massive fan of him as a golfer, and it really hurts to see he's a narcissist / a sociopath, because there's no, like, you go back, I watched a really good video, which I think I tagged you both in, the Ewan Murray, the one from at the US Open, when he talked about the whole putt, what he did there, call it a brain fade, or
that wasn't a brain fade. That was just Phil thinking he's bigger than the game.
Yeah, so he kind of put it in the brain fade, but really it's just disrespectful.
Yeah. And
showed, and the word, it was a really good word. He said he shows no contrition. And if you think about all the times he's done something that's stupid, he really doesn't, he's not apologetic in any way, shape or form. So he shows no empathy for the toll that he's probably placed friends and family and people that are in his circle. I don't think he's thinking about other people when it comes to his actions and the ramifications of that. And I still think, as I said the other week, him winning the PGA probably just enamored him to just turn it up to, there's 9 on the Phil dial and he's turned it up to 12, and it's come crashing down. And Alan Shipnuck talked about it. He said he probably thinks that Phil probably looks at all news cycles and thinks that, it's going to, the pages are going to turn over and everyone's going to forget about this in 6 to 12 months again. And the problem is that he does all these, there's so many things that he does really well, and it's like he just cashed in all credits. It's just, you really, humans are weird people, aren't they?
His statement today, I think he had to say something, but still, when you read it, he's
trying to salvage his sponsorship deals.
Yeah,
that's effectively what it is. He's trying to appease Saudi Arabia. He never mentioned PGA Tour. He didn't really apologise for anything he did. He's claiming that he's under a lot of pressure for the last 10 years. Then right at the end of it, starts talking about, I go out there and I sign all my autographs and I hang out with all the volunteers and all this other stuff. It's like, mate, it means nothing. If you saying that, it doesn't mean anything, because your actions and your words elsewhere means that that's just lip service. You're doing that to get some popularity credits in the bank that you can burn later down the track. You're not actually doing it for the right reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think that those 2 pages of that statement, did any level of salvage for him.
It didn't do him any good, because everyone saw through it. All the same people saw through it. They're going, this is bogus. Yeah. Like he starts off with, he was betrayed because of an off-the-record conversation with Alan Shipnuck. Like, come on, man. You're going after the wrong person. Yeah. Everyone knows who Alan Shipnuck is. He's probably one of the most stand-up journalists on the planet. If something's off the record, it's off the record. Like, he's not one of those salacious guys. He reports what it is. He does really hard, good journalistic work. And to try and muddy his name like that, I think that was actually more, that set the tone for everyone's response to that, going, hang on, you've gone after the wrong person. You have not taken any responsibility or accountability for your actions, and to basically put the blame at this journalist who's does great work and is a stand-up person. It's on you, Phil, for not saying this is off the record. It's on you, mate.
Well, we've talked about what's come out today. Phil has just provided the Golf Twitter, Instagram, podcast and journalistic world with a whole heap of fodder this week. And hopefully we've given our take. Mike, have you got anything else on that? Any other takes?
No, I'll be interested to see what happens in the next month, because the story was that any announcement would come out at the Players, which was the PGA's event, which is 2 weeks away. So I'll be very interested to see what happens.
I still reckon there's going to be some sort of announcements. They're just going to push ahead, and it won't be the big bang. Call it a soft launch, and they're going to continue working away and working people over. They'll find someone. They'll find them, because they at some point, if they get the money, there's so much money, and they throw that into the Asia Tour with world ranking points, and all of a sudden a couple players that just play the Asian Tour and they just start winning some stuff.
Yeah. To me, it's clear that it's, like I said, suggested, is this the death of it? And it's clearly, when you look into, and not that I've looked into it deeply, but you look at, this is not the only sport that the Saudi investment fund have poured money into.
No.
I was talking to Jamo today. G'day, Jamo, if you're listening, Melbourne City captain. We were talking about Newcastle United in the Premier League.
Yep.
Owned by the same fund, or that is funding all this, the Saudi investment fund, or whatever it's called. One of the biggest clubs in the north of England, one of the biggest clubs in the league, and fairly influential. So we're not
for them buying something like Newcastle City, the money that Ramco have, they've probably found that in down in the side door of one of their Ferraris or something.
And anyway, let's keep going on. We've got a tournament this week, the Honda Classic. Matt Jones, Aussie Matt Jones, is the defending champion. Hard one for me to pick as in terms of the tipping, Mike. I'm sort of leaning into and looking to your knowledge, the data lake.
Dive into the data lake
to give me some guidance.
The data lake's a lean data lake this week. It's very shallow. There's not a lot of the data's there, but the talent is not. The biggest names that are playing this week are Sung Jae-im, Daniel Berger, Neiman, who's trying to go back to back. Then you got Billy Horschel, Brooks Koepka, Usti, Tommy Boy, Fleetwood, Lowry, Matt Jones. That's not quite the field we had last week, but we had 9 of the top 10.
How does Tommy shape up around here? What's his
Tommy Fleetwood?
Yeah.
He hasn't been going too well.
No.
No. So
especially get windy down there in the bear trap. His mullet will
so
in his face.
Get him in here. He might have to go with a ponytail.
He's actually played okay here. So
yeah,
he's only been here twice. He's finished third and fourth.
That
was
his
2
name
years
jumped
ago and 2 years before that.
His name jumped out to me, but
his form is nothing. It's nowhere. And I can't give you any stats on him because he hasn't played enough tournaments this year. I've only plugged in this year's stats. But his course history is fine.
I watched Rick Shields beat him. That's why I've sort of gone off him a bit the other week. I watched that video where he played Rick Shields at the JCB course in UK, and Rick Shields beat him. So I'm off him a bit, but I might pick him. Herbie's playing. I think Herbie's playing.
I don't mind Herbie this week. The course suits someone who's a bit of a longer hitter.
Yeah, a bit windy too.
Yeah, and he's obviously been doing a little bit of work down that way, as I've seen from Jamie's and Herbie's Instagram stories. So
just on that, Jamie's been there for 7 weeks with Herbie and Ruff by 2, a couple of other clients. So he's back. Jamie's back in Queensland, and I think pretty much maybe Herbie's coach is going across pretty soon as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what's happening over there.
Keimer's playing.
Yeah, Keimer. Jawohl.
Yeah, the biggest name I'll say the biggest name because he was a fortunate for me a couple of weeks ago was Nikolai Højgaard, who's playing his first start on the PGA Tour this week. And again, he's a bomber, so it might suit him, but
he's a good player.
Have him.
Those two boys are good.
The brothers, him and Rasmus.
Oh my God.
Freaks. But Nikolai hits the ball out of sight.
Yes, he does.
Out of sight.
Sorry. Are you going to announce your picks now?
The data lake is saying in order: Sung Jae-im, Keith Mitchell, Mito Pereira, Neiman again, Hudson Swarford, Johnny Vegas, Hayden Buckley, Tringali, Usti, Berger, Wolf, Smotherman.
Smotherman. Smotherman. That'll be the hitman going to Phil's house.
That's it. But I'm not going with my top number. I'm going with Killer Keith Mitchell this week. A bit of a shot from outside the box.
Rocket Man, are you ready to announce your pick?
The Man of Steel.
Brendan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Superman?
Yeah. It barely hits it out of his shadow.
That's it.
But yeah, no, he's finished. He's been a top tenner here for the last couple of years.
Yeah. I can tell you. I should know. What about you, Ross? Who have we got? The people want to know.
I'm going to go Rasmus. I'm not Rasmus. I'm Nikolai Højgaard. There you go. I'm going to throw him a bone.
Yeah, well, the odds opened up and he was about 30-1, and I nearly fell off my chair. But he's out to the right price of about 100. But,
is he?
Yeah, which is not the worst.
Okay, we opened up with they were giving something away. We've kept people on edge for 59 minutes now. We better tell them what the giveaway is. That's all part of the strategy to keep you invested in the episode, you know.
That's it.
So what's the giveaway is a Callaway driver. How do you get points in the driver selection and the driver winning, not selection, in the winning, Mike?
Okay. So this is the way it will work, people.
Okay.
And we're going to run it for 1 week or 2 weeks?
I think 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. So for the next 2 weeks, obviously Ross will post on Instagram this picture with us with our ugly mugs on there advertising that the story's out. So sharing that onto your story or sharing that or reposting it and tagging My Love of Golf and myself so I can keep track of it at Mike_Caridi will give you a point. If you retweet the and share on Twitter, the same sort of thing, again, another point. And on Facebook, do we have it on Facebook as well?
It is on Facebook, yes.
Cool. So that'll be the first 3. And then the last one that you can get an entry is by liking and commenting on the YouTube video.
Now you got to subscribe because we picked up 2 subscribers. We need to get the subscribers up. So
any of those things. So I'll go back and check at the end of 2 weeks everyone that's commented and liked the video on YouTube. and you'll tag anyone who wants to tag me on a retweet or a Instagram story or an Instagram post. I will also be keeping track of all of those. Each time you do it, your name goes into the barrel. But for an extra, we'll call it for an extra. How many entries do you want to give them for this part, Ross?
Which is this part?
The secret part we spoke about before we went on.
The pip.
Yeah, no,
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. No, sorry. It's 10 o'clock. It's late.
So we'll give you 3 entries if you do this.
Okay. So let's just start again. So you've got share the Instagram.
Worth a point.
You've got Twitter, worth a point. Facebook, worth a point. So you've got to comment
or like on YouTube, point. But
I'm not sure that we can identify a like hitting the thumb button. Okay. I'm not sure, but comment on YouTube like I'm in, and then subscribe to the YouTube.
Yep.
Extra, let us know that you subscribed.
Yep.
And this one, you get an extra point if you can tell us what the driver is. It's a Callaway. It's from the Epic family, but there are a number of drivers in the Callaway Epic family, a number of different heads. I am going to put it up in the video now. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to put it up to the camera. And you can see it there. So if you can go to the YouTube and watch, that's another way of getting you to the YouTube and liking, subscribing, and doing that. But if you watch it, there it is.
That's it. From
the Epic. So tell us what it is. You can DM, you can put it in the comments or whatever you want to do. You'll get another point. So
that was an amazing Wilson TaylorMade Schlesinger Dunlop driver, that one.
No, it's a Callaway. It's a Callaway from the Epic family.
It's Callaway, but it's not a Big Bertha.
Yeah, but I was saying weird names that didn't give it away, so then people would be like trying to go. You have to go watch the video.
So there's three or four models in the Epic family, so it could be any one of those models. And
is it the no CTI? Is it the semi CTI?
Totes legal, man. It's totes legal. But what I do know is it hits the ball a long way. Just ask Phil. I'm sorry.
So 2 weeks. So basically what we'll do is it'll be for this week and next week. So that's including the Arnold Palmer Invitational and the Puerto Rico Open for all of you that love the secondary alternate event. And the winner will be announced on the Players Championship show.
Ooh.
I'll do a live internet drawing thing that we'll make sure we get video of so we can post it.
Maybe that's where we can have our... Yeah, you and I can get together at Big Swing Golf Central because I've got TPC Sawgrass on that big simulator there.
I'd love to ace that hole.
Yeah, and we could have an ace fest. You could have, anyway, that's competition too. There we go. Okay. Once again, totally unplanned. Okay, so we'll put the whole details of how you can win that on the notes. Cool. Gents, the Athena this weekend, if you are in Melbourne and you want to go and see some quality women's golf, we're talking some of the best professional golfers in Australia. I think also some of the elite amateurs have been invited. I can't remember that 100%. They did last year. I think Momoko,
we got Kelsey Bennett, Stephanie Bunky, Karis Davidson, Grace Kim, Grace Lennon, Molly McLean, Cassie Porter, Kristen Rudgley, Jade Shellback, Hani Song, Julian Su, and Sarah Wilson.
Okay. Well, Kristen Rudgley, who won every event in the UK that was to be won as an amateur last year. She's still an amateur. She's playing. But so day one is a skills challenge, like a skills combine. And the women get points for different challenges. So there's a bunker play, and then there's an up and down and a chipping competition and all these different skills challenges. It's quite fun to watch. I think maybe Ports will be commentating on again, and Stacey Peters and etc. Maybe Kari. I'm not sure if Kari's around, but anyway, there'll be all those guys commentating.
Port's definitely there. Yeah.
Port's definitely there. And Adidas sponsor it. So great supporters of women's golf, the Adidas apparel brand. Check that out. And then Sunday at Royal Melbourne is the knockout, the match play knockout. So it's like a round robin knockout, and and ends up with one of the girls becoming a winner. A good fun format, a way of the WPGA Tour supporting the women's golf and giving the girls something different to work on. And it's a lot of fun. So if you are in Melbourne,
and if you can't get there, it is on Foxtel and KO from midday till 4:30.
So you get to see Sandy Links on day 1, and I believe Royal Melbourne on day 2. They're literally opposite each other, and 2 great fine golf courses, or 3 if you include the 2 courses at Royal Melbourne. Very good. Rocket, thank you.
Pleasure, as always.
Thanks for your insights. Magic, thank you for your insights.
Thank you.
And more importantly, for you listening at home, we've given you a whole heap of information how you can win a Callaway driver. I'm sure that you do want to win a Callaway driver. It's a good one.
Make sure to tag me so I can make sure that I keep track of the numbers, please.
If you've got any questions, just send us a DM. Send Magic or myself a
just
DM.
Ask.
Yeah. We can't get you an extra point for DMing us, but if you've got
I'll take 1 point off if you ask a silly question.
No, not at all. Okay, thanks everyone.
Or just ask me a question on Twitter. I'll talk about anything.
Well, that's a separate project. Project 1000 for Rocket's.
I forgot about my own project.
Project 1000. If you want to follow Rocket,
please.
He's keeping it pretty real. You might have to get a little bit of political stuff in there, but the golf stuff is it's pretty real. It's good. So get on board with the Rocket Man. Ma Rocket. Sorry, nearly forgot. I was in the city and picked up the special delivery Ma Rocket. Thank you very much for the delivery of Scotch.
Mum, I'm out. I need more.
I sent you guys the invoice, the receipt for Ma Rocket's donation for Rocket's blonde hair.
Yeah.
He keeps thinking we're forgetting, but we're not forgetting. His own mum's put in money and he hasn't done it yet. That's not great.
Yep. It's not that hard, Rocket. Like, you just give it a bit of a bleaching. Queensland, everyone's bleached their hair in Queensland. Yeah, mate.
Like a frosted fringe or something.
Get funky,
lemon
man.
Juice.
Don't leave the funk. Don't leave the funk to Twitter. Bring some funk to the people in the pictures. No, it's not going down well, mate. Ma, sorry, we tried, but anyway, thanks for your donation to Lifeline 131114. People do great work. If you are in need and support of any time of difficulty, please call Lifeline, because those people are there to help. But we donated Ma Rockets, what was it, $50, $25, whatever it was.
$25,
it doesn't matter, whatever, any amount, every amount counts. Maybe we should have put that in the criteria. If you send us a receipt of your donation to Lifeline, you get an extra point.
Yep.
We can put that in as well. If anyone does make a donation to Lifeline, you get an extra point.
Any amount.
All you got to do is send us the receipt, blank out your address, but the address will go towards us knowing maybe where to send the driver to. All right. See you next time. Thanks for joining, and appreciate everything that you do for us. Thank you.